Hello everyone and welcome back to New Cats on the Block, our Northwestern Dynasty and NCAA 04, where we are coming off our second straight bowl victory over the Alabama Crimson Tide, and I am flashing off the hardware because I gotta do that. Our first legit bowl, in my opinion, because the Music City Bowl wasn't that legit. But either way, our Capital One Bowl victory does get us a job offer from the Nebraska Cornhuskers, who are down on their luck. And I remember heading into this game, NCAA 04 that is, Nebraska is really one of the better teams in all of college football. But they are down on their luck now, entering the 2010 season, I guess, or 2009 season, I think, is what it would be. So they want us to coach them after our kind of gross 8-5 year with our bowl victory. But we're going to decline that because, of course, we have a job here to do, and we are sticking to that job until it is successfully done. So, looking through all of our bowl results here, we absolutely pound Alabama, and that will get us into the top 25 to end off our year, which we've done a couple times now. We haven't done it since we beat Kentucky to finish 23rd, so kind of a similar finish to our year after beating Alabama. And Ohio State is going to take home some hardware against the Oklahoma Sooners, and so that is going to be their third national title in this little dynasty here that we have. They have won a national championship almost every few years. It's kind of crazy, and that is Oklahoma's second straight appearance, but they lost this time. They won last year over Air Force, which is gross. Looking here at the top 25, though, seeing things, look at our Big Ten opponents who maybe snuck in a little bit. We got Purdue and Wisconsin up in here. Iowa's sneaking in here. Look at that, man. I mean, Iowa did drop because they lost their bowl game, but TCU, Stanford, and us sneak into the top 25 following our bowl victories to cap off our seasons, which aren't bad. So we will now take a peek see at All-Americans because we have had a few selections over the years, nothing too big. I'm hoping we get some. Fingers crossed, looking over them. Did anyone have a good enough season? No, absolutely not. On second team, what about second team? Give me a second team selection. Come on, that's all I'm asking for. Just give me something, man, please. And boom, there we go. We got one. Dan Harden, our outside linebacker, posted an 86 tackle season with 8 sacks and 3 picks to really sweeten the deal to get a second team selection. You love to see it. He also got 40 little helmet stickers, if that matters. Are we counting that? I should have been counting that this whole time. Are we counting the helmet stickers? The last thing we'll look through here is some freshman All-Americans and see if any of our young guys got in. And no, they did not. I don't even know if we have that many young guys starting for us to even throw their hat name into the hat to get selected. So we're going to look over now the Big Ten and see how things shook up. Thanks to our dominant performance in the Big Ten, we absolutely sucked in out-of-conference play, which is rare or weird. But thanks to our dominant conference performance, we actually finished second in the Big Ten, which is just crazy because we finished 8-4. And you see all these other teams who had better records than we did sitting behind us. So I'll take a second-place finish because when we beat Kentucky in 2007, we finished 7th in the conference after going basically 500. So a little bit better, the record's about the same and the results are about the same, but it's still somewhat a better season. Time was split here between our quarterbacks pretty evenly. Looks like one of them must have had a pretty significant injury that sidelined them. So I hate this about the sim, dude. It keeps your guys statistically in the same spot. Even as they progress through training, it just keeps them the same. It just kneecaps them. It won't let them perform better. It sucks. But Matthew Bond gets a little bit more looks, a little bit more production in his last season as a Wildcat. So that's, pretty nice, I guess. We don't run too much anymore. I'm really relying on the pass. We messed around with the coaching settings, I believe, in the last video to try and have a little bit better of a season, I guess, but which doesn't allow us to run a whole lot. So we do get another 1,000-yard receiver, just barely. I'm pretty sure through the bowl game is probably how he hit that 1,000 mark. But it's okay because in college football that matters. In pro football, the playoffs, those stats, they don't really matter. They don't count. They don't correlate. But here the bowl game is still considered part of your season, so that counts. We will take that, a 1,000-yard season from our boy. So not much really to write home about as far as receiving production goes, which is kind of not great. Then, of course, here our O-line, see how they performed. They're always giving up a lot of sacks. 11 sacks to 20 pancakes is gross. I hate that. But, again, like I was just kind of complaining, like, it keeps the stats, like, in the same spot. Like, it doesn't let people actually, like, grow. So no one really kind of flourishes, even though their stats say otherwise. We got some great production from our defense. A lot of TFLs for some good guys, some good looks. Looking around here, 92 tackles did kind of lead the pack here. And then, of course, our second team All-American following in shortly behind that. He was very disruptive all around the field, though, not just, as far as tackles go. He was very disruptive around the field with all of his TFLs, his picks, the forced fumbles as well. So that is a great season from him. And then, of course, we have another pretty bad kicking season, as we always do. We never get really great numbers from our kickers. See, look at that. It's just pinning him in that, like, low to mid-70s every single year. I don't know why. He's probably going to get up to, like, 80s maybe, or even if we have, like, a great 99 overall kicker, I'm pretty sure they'd still have, like, a 75% kicking accuracy. And it's just frustrating. It's frustrating to see that kind of stuff, but it is what it is. So now let's see how the team performed overall, I guess, compared to the rest of the NCAA. So offensively, we were kind of all over the place. You can see running. See, we were 106. We were literally one of the worst teams in the nation with running the football, and passing, we were a top 10 team. So that's kind of where I want to be. That's kind of where I want our balance to be. We're going to be like Pac-10, bro. Just air raid. They can't beat us if we were throwing the ball 60 times a game. Okay, they can beat us pretty easily. But it's all right because, it's going to result in wins eventually. I'm confident, guys. It has to. I feel like we're so close to a corner. After last year, I didn't think we were finishing 5-7, but now I feel like we are. So efficiency is a big area where we kind of dropped off. We were not that efficient in any regard. We sucked on third down. We sucked on fourth down. But that's, I guess, when you throw the ball a lot, that's what you're going to do. There's not much I can do from a sim perspective to help in short yardage situations and make us a bit more of an efficient team in those high leverage situations. But regardless, that is how our team stacked up. So we are finally able to look ahead and move into our next season. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8th season as coach for the Wildcats. So here is all the guys who are not going to be joining us next year. Quite a bit of seniors. So yeah, I guess we didn't really have a lot of freshmen who had some starting roles because we had quite a bit of our guys leave. I mean, these are high overall guys. For us to go 8-5 this year, I mean, that's really kind of unfortunate. Like, just kind of a blunder. I feel we lost a lot of games we probably shouldn't have, including our out of conference. So looking over our recruiting class heading into the 2010 season, we do get a handful of blue chips, which is great, and a handful of 5 stars. We want to continue to keep that pace. As we also load our class with a ton of 4 stars. So as long as we're in the 4 to 5 star like every year, I think we'll be all right. So we had a lot of holes because of our guys leaving. We basically reloaded our receiver position, and that puts us at number 5 in the nation as far as recruiting is concerned. So our previous ranks, we did really bad recruiting last year. We came in at 52nd, which is our worst recruiting class since taking over the Wildcats. But 2008, 2009, we really were not that efficient recruiting-wise. Like, I just couldn't bring in a lot of guys. They weren't that impressed, I guess, with how we did. And after our horrible 2008 season going 5-7, I'm surprised anyone decided to come the following year. But we still had a lot of good, like, juniors and seniors that we could kind of rely on to have us bounce back and have another effective season, which really helped us this year bring in a lot of good new young talent, which is super important. So I think if we had another kind of dog year, didn't make a bowl game or anything like that, like, this would probably be the beginning of the end for Rich Boker in his days leading the Northwestern Wildcats, because like back-to-back seasons like that, I don't think I would have been all that successful. I still think my coaching favor is still pretty good with the Wildcats. It's weird in this game the way they kind of go over that, because like, I'm not really like reaching their goals what they want. I've talked about this a bunch in the previous videos, but like, we're not reaching our goals really. They want us to win the Big Ten. They want us to win national titles, and we're not doing that. But we are winning at a pretty efficient clip, and we're in bowl games, if not winning, but we're at least in bowl games every year, every other year. So for a team that historically is not that effective in those two regards. We got to be one of the better coaches in the school's history, even though, our track record so far in the first 5 or 6 years, or 7 or 8 years, is not really anything to light up at, I guess. But looking around our team now as we're setting up our roster heading into the next year, our linebacking core is going to be pretty freaking awesome. We got some guys I'm really jazzed about, just like Jason Hackett, and then of course Dan Harden is now up to a 94, our second-team All-American. He's going to be pretty freaking cool. Offensively, I'm never worried. I mean, like I just said, we really kind of we reloaded at the receiver position. I wanted to get as many high-skill guys because if we're going to pass, that's what we want to do. We want to pass. So if we're going to pass, we're going to need to have an effective group of receivers, or an effective receiving core, and a decent enough quarterback. So I believe we're still going with one of our dudes from last year, either Sprague or Huff, I can't remember, but we're going with one of them. So at a conference schedule, or this is just a look at the schedule, I'm going to try and keep it easier now, because we've kind of struggled with our schedules the last few seasons. So I kind of want to give us a pup schedule just to ensure, you know what I mean, that we'll win some games. And we're going to boost up here on the pass even more. I think a 60-40 split is good. I do not want to be running the football. I don't think it'll be that effective for us. So we enter into this season ranked fairly high, a lot higher than I thought, but that is all based on our recruiting class, really. So we're heading into the season now. We start off with a humongous win over the SMU Mustangs, 47-7. That is in Dallas, beating the Mustangs. So that's cool. We followed up with another massive victory over Tulsa. I mean, it's Tulsa. They suck. They're not good. We follow up with probably one of our biggest margins of victory, just period, in this series. A 60-0 victory over the Oklahoma State Cowboys. They get absolutely pummeled, but then Arizona State trips us up. Oh my God. Well, why? Why do they do this? Why do they do this to us? I don't understand why. We lose in heartbreaking fashion due to Arizona State, and that's going to move us into one of our biggest games, the Ohio State Buckeyes, number 8 Ohio State Buckeyes. They come to town, and in an absolute classic Big Ten game, they beat us 3-19. So we trip up to the Buckeyes yet again. It's unfortunate, and we get right again with the Minnesota Golden Gophers in the Metrodome in Minneapolis. We are able to bounce back in the win column, and we're still in the rankings. We're holding on to our rank as much as we can as we take on the 1-5 Indiana Hoosiers and have another convincing victory over the Hoosiers, because that is a team that we rarely, if ever, lose to as we head into our bye week now, carrying a 2-game win streak. But then we go to Wisconsin, and they remind us that, hey, you guys are still a little brother, and you suck. You're not good at the game. Get off the game. Number 14 Wisconsin absolutely shuts us out and embarrasses us and sends us to 5-3, but we bounce back against number 12 Purdue, the Boilermakers, the Spoilermakers. We spoil their fun and drop them to 6-3 as we crush them at home. And then Penn State, who's having a pretty struggling this year like we are, but we're struggling a little bit less than they are. We just barely beat the Nittany Lions to send them to 6-4 and to extend to 7-3. And then this is the big, number 19 Michigan, 58-7. Who do we think we are? This has to be one of the biggest upset weekends. What happened to the Wolverines? That was in the big house. What happened? Okay, the sim just threw us one, because that is for sure not going to happen again. And then we finish off the season with our rivalry game against the 2-9 Fighting Illini, and we beat them to send them to 2-10, retain the Sweet Sioux Axe in a gross 30-20 score. Giving 20 points to a 2-win Illinois team, I don't like that. I'm not a big fan of that. But we have a pretty impressive 9-3 year. Here is your Heisman winner and finalists. No surprises here. It's the same kind of schools every single year. That's just how it seems to work. And that will get us another bid. A 9-3 season will give us another bid to the Capital One Bowl in Orlando, Florida, this time taking on the Ole Miss Rebels. So hope you guys are there when we take on Ole Miss in our second straight bowl game, looking for another win over an SEC opponent.